I, 28F, caught my boyfriend, 27M, cheating on me and I don't know where to go from here. I had a feeling that something was going on for a couple of weeks and no matter how many times I begged him to tell me, he denied everything. So I bit the bullet and messaged the girl in question myself and she told me everything. Part of me wishes I didn't, part of me is glad that I did. She told me everything I didn't want to hear. They hadn't done anything physical but were planning on meeting on New Year's to basically hook up and see how things went. The things he has said to her make me feel physically sick. The fact that he refused to see me or spend time with me on New Year because of coronavirus but had plans to see her makes it even more painful. Whenever I close my eyes I picture him and her. The closer New Year's Eve is the more sick I feel. My stomach is in pieces. I keep having nightmares whenever I attempt to sleep. My eyes are black from crying and lack of sleep. I can't eat. I can't count how many times I've vomited through sadness and pain. I'm a mess. We've spoken and spoken and spoken about where to go from here the last couple of days. He said he's going to change and be a better person for me. He's never going to leave me in the dark again. He wants a life with me. He made a mistake and he'll never do it again. We'll communicate better and talk things through instead of hiding how we feel. That he's drowning in guilt. He's given me his reasoning as to why he did it and I'm trying my best to understand but I'm so mad. So fucking mad that he's done this. I've been told again and again and again that he will do it again but I love this man so much. I love him so much that even though he's smashed my heart and mind into pieces I don't want to be without him and I want to work through this. We live on opposite sides of the same town and haven't seen each other in over a month. Currently I'm fixated on timestamps. When he was last online on WhatsApp compared to when he replies to my texts. Who is he talking to? The wait in between replies. What is he doing? Whenever he goes out I go into a panic and feel sick. How long am I going to feel like this? I feel like such a toxic piece of shit but I'm so paranoid he's going to do it again. If anyone has been cheated on or has been the cheater and has any advice on how to move on from here or how to deal with this pain I'm in, please let me know. I want to at least try and move on from this even if it does take a long time. Thanks in advance. Too long didn't read. I caught my boyfriend emotionally cheating on me. I want to give him another chance but I'm not sure where or how to go from here. Sometimes, a couple can get past an instance of cheating. But, that's usually if it was spur of the moment, a sudden thrill one late night where the person immediately feels the guilt of it the very next day. The events you describe are far more premeditated. He didn't just have a one-night stand, or give in to a sudden want for thrill. He was dating another woman. Like he talked to her for at least a couple of weeks, and made plans to see her, talked about those plans with her, found ways to ignore you to focus on her, his second GF. This is not a guy I peg as someone who will never cheat again or who is capable of changing into a suddenly loyal guy. This is someone who likes the thrill of cheating and dating other women. He will do it again. You will find out about yet another woman he went off to see instead of you, who he texts regularly. Looking for a way to move on while staying with a cheater like this is like asking for a way to not get hit by a car while standing in the middle of the highway. I know you think you can't live without this guy, but I promise you, you can. And you will be in a lot less pain now, than if you stay to be cheated on again. Honestly, he's lied to you and had a chance to backtrack. Gave you excuses to not see you but is willing to break quarantine to see her. I say you dump him. This isn't just sex. This is an emotional connection. Leave him before he does this again. He had so many chances to break it off and it took being discovered for him to finally feel the guilt. Sis, this man has been planning a whole different life without you. It wasn't a one-time thing. To me it looks like he's just sorry now because he got caught. Do you want to live in fear for life? Get out. You're still young. You'll find far better men who are willing to treat you the way you deserve without you having to beg for it. My beloved eats like a cement mixer. I am 35, met my now girlfriend, F30, at the start of 2020. Neither of us was particularly looking for a relationship, but I guess sometimes you just can't ignore what's staring you in the face. She's completely wonderful, warm, insightful, Funny and Bo, today I fucked up, to the point where her interest in me can sometimes feel like a clerical error, and yet I've never felt so appreciated. I'd go so far as to say that, quite apart from making me fall deeply in love with her, she's dangerously close to making me like myself. And if that sounds too good to be true, let me just remind you that, as per the title of this thread, she chews like a yak with a mouthful of superglue and I don't know what to do about it. Please understand that I really don't want / to care, not least because it would almost certainly hurt her feelings if she knew that it bothered me, but it does bother me. I find myself rubbing my face to self-soothe when we eat together, feeling pronounced stress and anxiety about the sounds in the first instance, and then feeling even more stress and anxiety about the possibility of her clocking my stress and anxiety. I'm not sure that I'm able to ignore this, as I might never become desensitized to it, but equally I don't want to raise it with her if it might be a me problem. I've done a bit of reading into misophonia, a condition whereby some people can have disproportionate emotional reactions to ordinary sounds, and I'm open to the possibility that I have some mild version of that going on, in which case maybe the answer is for me to get therapy. However, this isn't something I've experienced again and again throughout my life. Only once before can I remember having an irrational response to the sound of someone eating. That was my sister crunching on breath mints when we were children, at least a quarter of a century ago, and we were constantly annoyed with each other about one thing or another back then, so I'm not sure that there's a whole lot I can read into that. The sounds my girlfriend makes when she eats are something completely new and alien to me, and I think my reaction is specific to them. Which brings me to the flip side: if it isn't just a me problem and her eating habits are going to bother other people in her personal and professional life, then do I have an obligation to tell her so that she has the chance to address it? I just don't know what to do. Please help me before I stress rub the cheeks right off my face. Too long didn't read. Girlfriend makes remarkably loud noises while eating. I don't know if I should be keeping my mouth shut or politely asking her to. More info required. Does she have her mouth closed while chewing? If so, not sure if there is something she can do differently. If not, hey babe, you are eating with your mouth open today, can you not? She's eating with her mouth open. You make it sound very simple to casually point that out, but what if she's mortified? Shouldn't I be taking the conversation at least a little bit seriously? And shouldn't I acknowledge the possibility that it might be bothering me more than it does other people? The whole pandemic situation has meant that we've never really eaten together around other people, so I have no way to check at this point. Be honest with her. Be kind to her about it and try your best to get your point across. I think that it will benefit the both of you if you talk to her about it. I had this conversation with my partner. We are so comfortable with each other, and I guess after 7+ years of being together, not much is off limits to say or do around each other. Embarrassed smiley face. I told him that his eating habits were really stressing me out, and if he could try to work on it, that's all I could ask for. If he forgets, I remind him about it, nicely of course. Now I don't get randomly anxious and he doesn't get confused why I'm anxious and aggravated with him. It's much better to be open and honest with your partner, even if it's painful or scary sometimes. Best of luck, please keep us updated. Relieved face. I have a different take. Does she have issues with her nose/sinuses? I have allergies and seem to be prone to sinus infections. One of the things my husband noticed is that during a flare-up, I will unthinkingly eat with my mouth open. Because I can't breathe. You can absolutely frame your noticing as a concern for her. If that turns out to not be why, feel free to let her know you are struggling with something that you need her help with. Yeah, she might feel embarrassed, but if it's as bad as I imagine, you might be saving her from a more embarrassing situation. I have a different take. Does she have issues with her nose/sinuses? I have allergies and seem to be prone to sinus infections. One of the things my husband noticed is that during a flare-up, I will unthinkingly eat with my mouth open. Because I can't breathe. You can absolutely frame your noticing as a concern for her. That hadn't even occurred to me, but yes, it's possible. Don't want to go into identifying levels of detail, but very possible. Thank you. Useful thing to think about. My dude, you have to tell her. It's not something that you will be able to live with without getting mad about it in your head, and that won't help your relationship. Just talk with her, it's not the end of the world. My girlfriend ate normal when I met her, but I have misophonia and I couldn't handle her eating chips. So we talked, and now she eats them differently and more slowly, so I don't get angry AF every time she chews a chip down her throat. This is the tricky thing though. If I could just say there's nothing wrong with you, it's me, I have this condition, then I wouldn't feel nearly so concerned about hurting her feelings, but I don't think I do suffer from misophonia to any meaningful extent. I haven't had the chance to ask other people if they're bothered by her eating habits, but honestly I'd be surprised if anyone isn't. How do you tell a 30-year-old woman that the way she's been eating this whole time is obnoxious to the vast majority of people without completely humiliating her? And what response can I really expect anyway? Be amazed if nobody's told her before, but she's still doing it. You could at least bring the topic up gently and tell her that it's a little bothering. Maybe she knows it already. Someone must have told her about this at some point, I guess. But maybe hearing it from you again will force her to be mindful of it in the future, especially in public places and professional settings where she could be stared at and judged. So yeah, bring it up gently. My 22F boyfriend, 25M, is insecure, bases his attractiveness on how many girls have shown interest in him. My boyfriend and I have been dating for almost 3 years. We had very similar life experiences. We didn't have romantic partners in high school. We were extremely shy and self-conscious. No one showed any romantic interest in me in high school, but he did have 2 girls ask him out in high school. He didn't have his first kiss until he was 21. I didn't have mine until I was 18. I learned over the years that self-love is extremely important. I don't have to wait for someone to come along for me to love myself. I am more confident since I don't base my appearance off of someone else's opinion. My boyfriend, however, still bases his appearance based on how many girls have shown interest in him. He doesn't think he's attractive. I've tried to sympathize with him, but it's a weird conversation to have when I'm his girlfriend. He's sad that there hasn't been a girl that's shown true interest in him. I was the one to ask him out, and I was the one to initiate kissing/sex. It makes me feel like I don't count. He's so attractive, and it's incredibly frustrating that he doesn't see that. I've tried to explain self-love to him, and that he doesn't need to wait for someone to love him for him to love himself. He refuses to listen to me. Has anyone had a similar problem? If so, how did you help your significant other? Or, if you were in my situation, what would you do? Too long didn't read. My boyfriend bases his appearance/attractiveness based on how many girls have shown interest in him. I've had a similar experience to him. No one was romantically interested in me until I was much older. He puts himself down constantly. It makes me feel like I don't count, even though I'm his girlfriend. I've tried to teach him about self-love, but he refuses to listen. Have you been in a similar situation? What would you do in my position? It's not your job to fix him, and unless he's actively trying to get help for his issues, this is going to be the nature of your relationship. The whole thing sounds exhausting. It's like he's saying that you don't matter and the only thing important to him is how many other girls find him attractive. You're a kinder person than I am, because I would have dumped him for being an emotional drain.